I don't know if you can hear me over the sound of the wind noise, but as is common with old convertible cars, a little bit of wind noise gets in, just a tiny bit. I think it's probably because I can see the sky through the roof. I think that could be it. Not entirely sure. Right, so this week I'm going to talk about a car that's very close to my heart, because it is in fact my car. And the car I'm driving, as you may have seen before, is a bright red Mark II Mazda MX5. So why did I buy an MX5? Basically, I just wanted something that was rear-wheel drive. And that's quite childish to say, but actually, where most of the cars that you drive nowadays are front-wheel drive, it seemed like quite a good idea in my head to buy something that was rear-wheel drive so I could just have a bit of a play and get used to rear-wheel drive. So that's what I did. When I bought it, it had done 109,000 miles, and now it's done 125,000 miles. But it's still going strong. I've had no problems. It starts every single time. All I have to do is put some oil in it and do some welding. So in both the Mark I and the Mark II, you had a choice between a 1.6 and a 1.8, and I didn't really see the 1.6 as an option. That's not being snobby, it's just I kind of wanted a car that moved, and the 1.6 didn't really do it for me. So this is a 1.8, it's a 1.8S as well, which is the one basically that I wanted, because most MX-5s, unless you buy them from abroad, they don't have a limited slip diff, which actually for me kind of seemed quite important, because if I want to learn rear wheel drive, surely the best way of doing that is to have a car that's got a limited slip diff and is probably more happy at kind of, you know, sliding a little bit. So that's what I wanted. Spent about a month and a half trawling through like car ads and online, and I just got off the phone because I was also looking at Toyota MR2s, and I was going to go and view one, and the guy cancelled. So I had a quick look on Auto Trader again and found this. It was a 1.8S, but not just a 1.8S, it was a 1.8S Sport. As well as the diff, it had a strut bracing across the engine and Bilstein dampers. So I thought, well, that'd be quite a good car to own. Let's phone the guy up. So I phoned him up, went and saw the car that afternoon, put a deposit on it, and then went back the next day to collect it. So far, it's been fine. I've had no problems at all. The only problems I've had are with the MOT, because MX-5s, particularly Mark 1s and definitely Mark 2s, are well known for just rusting. Just completely and utterly rusting in such a horrific way that sometimes you can't even repair them. Because basically the chassis just turns to paper. And mine, when I bought it, I could see there was a little bit of rust on actually both wheel arches, one a lot less than the other, and I thought actually that's fine. I could feel it, it was surface rust. So I bought it. 3 months later, took it to get its MOT, and of course the rust that I thought didn't really matter, there was a bit underneath that on the actual sill itself, and I didn't know. I took it in, had the car MOT'd, and then they tucked away and basically put their fist through it. So I basically just wanted to cry while they cut a huge chunk of my car out and welded it back up. And then this year, its next MOT, I thought, oh, it's fine, I've had the welding done. And of course, it happened on the other side as well. So I've now had both sides welded and repaired, so it's now fine, but it's pretty gutting actually to have to watch bits of your car being cut out. Aside from the welding and the slight little bit of rust that's still on the wheel arch, there's a slight weird kind of burble from the exhaust every now and then, which apparently is a common thing with MX-5s. I know Harry, who's behind the camera now, also has an MX-5, and it just sounds like it's just burping all of the time. There's nothing he can do. He can't be bothered to fix it or afford to fix it. Probably one of the main problems with owning this car is just the way the world sees you. Basically, it's a red two-seater convertible, so people just look at me and either think I'm a boy racer or a hairdresser, which isn't really a great image to have. I prefer people to look at me as a youthful young man who's kind of wants to learn more about car control. The world doesn't see that. I can't explain to people every single time I get in my car that the reason I bought it is because I want to learn more about rear-wheel drive. I really love cars. I'm into kind of car mechanics and how cars behave on a racetrack. No one cares about that, and I'm not going to explain it to them. People just look at me and think I'm a bit of an idiot. So if you buy one of these, be prepared to be mocked almost on a daily basis. Just for the avoidance of doubt, I am not a hairdresser. Performance is probably something I should talk about. The engine's the 1.8, so it's got 140 horsepower roughly, and it'll get to 60 in just a smidge over 8 seconds. I can't remember exactly what it is. It doesn't feel, it isn't that fast really. It's not fast, it's kind of quick. If you're used to being in a hatchback, just a normal bog standard car, then it will feel a lot quicker. But I think the main reason it feels quite quick is because relative to everything else, you are actually sitting quite low. It's not a Lotus, but it is quite a low down car. This has got a 6-speed manual gearbox. You can also get old MX5s with automatics, but I really wouldn't recommend those at all. That would just be appalling, just be a waste of money. Just don't do it. I like to pretend that I'm a mechanic, and the most I've ever done is change the windscreen wipers, but actually as a kind of starting point to learn a bit more about mechanics, an MX5 is a fairly good place to start. It's very simple, like relative to a new car where you can't actually do anything with it. An MX5 is just, you can just buy the parts and do them yourself. So with the brakes, for example, I ignored a grinding noise for a little while. That actually turned out to be, well, I had no front right brake pad, and it had just eaten through the disc. Probably not my finest hour, but you just take the wheels off, take the pads out, and you can replace the discs and the pads in sort of 3 hours for what, 100? I think I paid 120 quid for all the parts. It's just really simple. And everything else, like bits in the cabin, you can change. You can put different, more powerful brakes on it. You can put different exhausts on it, different filters. You can even put a turbocharger on it if you want. If you want to make it just hilarious. Basically, I'm just really happy with my car. I know people might look at me and think I'm a bit of an idiot because I'm driving a red 2-seater car and I look about 12, and someone even asked if I was old enough to drive, but it doesn't really matter. It's my little car. I haven't given it a name. Someone else named her Marge, which has just kind of stuck, so now everyone calls my car Marge, and I just love it really.